Hi everyone, I'm so sorry I've been busy. I've had guests, so I haven't had a chance to review any or watch any Love Island. So I'm going to try and catch up as much as I can as soon as possible. That way, by Sunday, hopefully, I'll be up to date. So in this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island, season 11, episode 38. It's your girl Valerie. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. Okay, I feel some type of way. I really feel some type of way because we had Mimi have a conversation with Ayo when they spoke about boundaries, and Ayo was asking her, do you want to put boundaries? And she said, this is very uncomfortable because this is something I've never done, but this is something I feel because we have connections with other people we need to do. And then she went into bed with Josh and told Josh that things had ended with Ayo from then onwards. And so the producers, for them to have the audacity to now push, I feel like Mimi is being punished. Mimi is being punished for what? I feel like Mimi is being punished because she told Josh that things were over with Ayo without the producers giving a go ahead. And this is why they've decided to humiliate her in this way by having her sit on the terrace. Because it doesn't make any sense why she would go and sit on the terrace, knowing for a fact that Josh felt some type of way when she had a conversation with him after the Snog Marry Pie challenge, and he was asking, why do you keep saying you need to speak to Ayo? What is there to talk about? Because his question is, if you've told me that things are over, why do you keep needing to sit down with this person? Why do you need to keep having conversations with them? Things are over. Let's keep it moving. Let's go on to the next stage. But I feel like the producers were unhappy with the fact that Mimi shut things down before they gave her the permission to shut things down. And because they have mics in the bed, despite the fact that Mimi and Josh were whispering, the producers picked up on it, and now Mimi is now having to be the sacrificial lamb for the storyline because she went against their say-so. That's just my opinion. I don't know why they didn't stop the conversation, because all this making, Ayo the victor, the one who stood for his connection and the one who's refused to go upstairs to the terrace doesn't make sense to me. For Ayo to be telling Jessica that, oh, I'm done with Mimi, we're done. Mimi told him during their whatever conversation they had that was chopped and pasted when she was talking about boundaries, they reached a conclusion that this thing was over. So the idea that suddenly Ayo is the one who's standing on business and saying we're over, and Mimi is the one who's pushing up on him, I don't get how people are buying that. I really don't. Anyway, you have Joey try to take Ayo upstairs to the terrace. Ayo refuses to go to the terrace because he says, if Mimi wants to speak to me, she has to come down here and speak to me. And it's like, please, I don't like this. And also, when Josh passed them, they changed the conversation immediately. I feel like Ayo wanted to play with Mimi. He wanted to play in Mimi's face until the very end of the show because he knew it would get him a lot of traction, a lot of airtime. But then Josh sitting him down and asking him, are you interested in this girl or are you not? If you're not, let me know, because I really like this girl, not just for TV, but I really like her in real life and I can see something with her. This is why Ayo took a step back. Had Josh not had that conversation with Ayo, Ayo would have kept stringing Mimi along for as long as he could, because he's the one who opened the door that Mimi had already shut. After movie night, Mimi didn't speak to him and kept out of his way. Even when she was crying, she was avoiding him. And then suddenly, when he saw Mimi with Josh, he then opened the door and started giving out mixed signals to people. And people started Chinese whispers back to Mimi to say, oh, you and Ayo, there's still something there, there's still a feeling, there's still this, there's still... So for him to suddenly be displayed as the one who's prioritized this relationship and this connection over Mimi, good luck to those that are buying it. I am not. For Matilda to have a conversation with Jess and tell her that, oh, your feelings are being spared. That's why Mimi and Ayo are not getting back together. And it's like, seriously, how many times has Joey recoupled? Has he ever spared anyone's feelings? Why make a big deal out of nothing? You need to mind your business and leave these people alone. Right. Okay. So now I get it. I don't know whether anyone else has observed this. So you have, Josh have a conversation with Joey, because I think the producers put Joey in this mess because these people were being knuckleheads and they were refusing to bark. And so the producers decided that let's put a knucklehead inside and get him to stir the pot. That way something will come up out of it. Because I don't think Mimi, Josh, Ayo, or Jess were going to do anything. I think they were just, sort of being stubbornheads and they were refusing to do what the producers wanted. So the producers decided to bring in someone that they knew would stir the pot and would do anything and everything. Because Josh is speaking to Joey and is saying, I understand from Ayo that things are completely done, but I think Mimi is still going through the process. She's still processing her feelings. And so I can only hang around for so long before I'm turned off, which is justifiable because Mimi had locked away her feelings. She had grieved the end of that relationship and was at acceptance. And then Ayo came and reopened her wound and she's now back at denial and everything else that comes with it because the denial, grief, acceptance, bargaining. How many stages got? It's been a while since I studied it. So it's not her fault that she's in the phase where she's at because Ayo was the one who opened the door and then everybody else came in. And so you have Mimi finally come down, pull Ayo for a chat. And Ayo is sort of talking, I have said to you, all I want is Jazz and you and I understand each other. It's only this. And it's sort of gesturing towards the cameras that the producers are the ones who don't seem to understand. You and I have reached an understanding that we are done, which they did. There's episodes where we actually see them sit down and have a conversation about it ending. But because the producers had tried to portray Mimi as a boring character and didn't expect her to have a connection, I think when they brought Josh and Ruben, they didn't expect one of the guys to have a strong connection with Mimi. So the fact that Mimi had a connection with Josh, who they thought would go for Grace because that's who he, according to the viewer, to the show, are the type of people he's dated. And suddenly he's with Mimi and she's breaking things off with Ayo and is moving away from Ayo, not putting a love triangle. This is why this mess is here. And Ayo's right to say, the production side is the problem. It's nothing to do with you and I. You and I understand each other, that we are done. We are connected with other people. We're moving on with other people. But the producers are the ones that are the problem. And Mimi didn't say anything to that. I think Mimi got in trouble. I'm going to say this. I think Mimi got in trouble because she spoke in bed to Josh and told Josh, I and I had a conversation, because she could tell Josh was upset. I and I had the conversation and we agreed that we're completely done. It's over. It's buried. We're moving on. And I think this is why even when I was gesturing towards the cameras and sort of saying that this is the problem, you and I understand each other, Mimi didn't say anything because I think she just didn't want to get herself in more trouble. I think she's already been told off. And so she's decided to keep her peace of mind and just keep quiet. Anyway, all the islanders get ready for bed. And you have Kieran having a conversation with Ayo. And Ayo saying, I'm completely done with this. But Mimi, I'm not sure, whatever, I couldn't land. I don't know whether it's landed. I couldn't land. And it's like, who are you trying to land it with? Because Mimi, it's landed already. She accepted it. And she already agreed to it when you were talking about boundaries. So you need to go to the producers and try and land it with them. This has nothing to do with Mimi. It has nothing to do with Josh. I feel like they were looking for a way to portray someone in a negative light. We had Tasha last season, we had Catherine the season before. And this season, they hadn't had anyone. And sadly, Mimi was the only she's been the only black girl outside of the girls that came through Casa. She's been the only black girl through the start. So I think because they couldn't get Jess to sort of play ball, this is why they've decided Mimi, because of the mistake she made by confiding in Josh about the status of her situation with Ayo, they're going to paint her in a negative light, and here we are. And so the islanders get ready for bed. And given all the hype and the hoopla around, Mimi wants, to go back to Ayo, Mimi's always cuddled up with her man every single night. Make it make sense. If you're going to tell us that Mimi doesn't like Josh, then show Mimi sleeping on one end of the bed. Don't show us Mimi literally climbing into Josh to go to sleep. That doesn't make sense to me. This is why I said last week when Mimi they were showing her crawling across the floor, the terrace, I said I want to see them in bed because that's when I'll know whether Mimi really likes Josh or whether they're over. And her body language in bed or her body language around Josh doesn't say that she doesn't like this guy and she wants to go back to Ayo. So I don't get why the producers think they're playing with little kids, that they can just tell anything they feel we want to hear and we'll believe it. Yeah, some people do, but not the likes of me. Anyway, in the morning, the islanders receive a text message. Well, they're actually still in bed to say that they're going to a party. And so they go to a party, and there's a singer, Jessie Glynn. Not my cup of tea. I know her songs, though. I know her songs. I've heard her songs, but I didn't know who she was. Everyone is excited and they're dancing. And I don't get it. I don't get it, because people just lash out because they see, they don't analyze whatever we're being shown, because we keep being told that Ayo and Josh don't get along. Ayo was flirting with Josh's girl. Josh, this, that, and the other. And yet half the time, if not 75% of the time, they're always standing next to each other. Why are they standing next to each other if they can't stand each other's guts because of a girl? Why? Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. It was cute to see the couples dancing. Oh, it was really sweet. It was really sweet, because you had couples dancing at some time, and then you had them, the girls dancing amongst themselves. And then at one point, Mimi was just on her own. She took herself to the back of the group, and suddenly I think Josh realized she was on her own, and he had to go and keep her company. I really love how attentive he is to her. If I can find a man like that, oh, amazing. Anyway, Jessie Glynn then announces that there are some bombshells coming in, and we have Harry and Lola. This season might as well have been labeled Joey Essex Presents Love Island, because he knows the new girl as well. And it's like, so are we just going into his, phone and just looking up who does Joey know? Who does Joey know? And then we're just bringing them into the villa. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, because it's not. But anyway, as long as they can turn the attention of negativity away from Mimi, then I'm here for it. So you have Harry and Lola. So Lola starts off with the boys and Harry starts off with the girls. And it's painful to watch. It's painful. They're very dry. Maybe we're spoiled for choice because we've recently had Ruben and Josh come in, and they were very bubbly, and so to have two dry people come in is like, oh my god, could they not do any better? Or were they trying to just bring in another one of Joey's exes before he left the villa? Well, according to Harry, he hasn't been in a relationship for 2 years, and it's like, what were you doing? But hey, 2 years is nothing. And then with Lola, she says she's never been in a relationship at 21, and it's like, okay, amazing. If you are saying you are very selective, who are we to judge? Anyway, they then switched roles, and sort of, Lola comes to the girls and Josh goes to the boys, and it's still painful to watch. There's nothing that they said that I could hear outside of their, their current situations. And for everybody to keep saying there's an issue with Ayo, Mimi, Josh, and Jess, the producers have milked it enough. They need to leave it alone. It's now becoming boring because people are bound to switch off. It's becoming a bit too much. We don't need any more of it. And the fact that they are trying to bring it to the forefront of the grafties, I don't like it as well. I can't wait to see what happens with that. So you then have Lola pull for a chat, Joey, Essex, and Ruben. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me. I don't get why she needed to speak to two guys immediately, unless they were trying to see which guy to save from the elimination. It doesn't make sense. And for Joey to be flirting, and it's like, Joey, you're in your 30s. This young lady is 22 years old. Seriously, you're going to be her first boyfriend. This will be a headache for you. You're in a secure couple with Jessie, even though I like seeing her shake, quiver in her boots because of what she tried to do to Mimi. But still, I would rather you go for people that are age appropriate or people that are just as mature as you are, because she still has a lot of life to live, and you're sort of, going down the road of probably settling down. I love that Ruben was able to bring out his Spanish, to flirt in Spanish, because she's half Spanish, although she doesn't speak Spanish herself. And Joey's crazy for him to sort of say, oh, I just want you to know that we're both not closed off. And it's like, Joey, why are you saying that? Why do you have to speak up for other people? They didn't ask you what's your status, so if they haven't asked you, then just leave it at that. You don't need to be telling anyone what your status is unless they ask you. Joey's flirting a storm. I think he really likes and is hoping she'll pick him, even though he still likes Jess because she's off her job. She's likely to get him more contracts, I think. So Harry pulls Jess and Grace for a chat, and it's like, oh my god. Jess is okay, but Grace is going to have a record for the most recoupling partners in Love Island history. in Love Island history. I think she's just recoupling just for the sake of recoupling so that she can stay on the show. But she still has feelings for Joey. This because it doesn't make sense how she's so quick to sort of engage with someone. And the fact that she was flirting with him and he's saying to her, you and I would be better. Jess is telling her, oh, you two have sexual chemistry. That's amazing. And it's like, oh my God, make it stop. Make it stop. Why is she still here? Why is she still here? She hasn't paid any attention to any of the guys since she uncoupled with Joey. She was waiting for Joey to come back. It seems she's been trying to make Joey jealous with every guy she's recoupled with. Make it make sense. Anyway, after that chat, you have Grace and Jess have a conversation, and Grace is saying, oh, you need to have a chat with Mimi just to make sure, she is also okay and that the two of you are okay in regards to the situation. And it's like, Grace, you have your own issues with Joey Essex. We saw them in the last game you played. Go and sit down and discuss your issues. There's no need for you to keep encouraging this girl to approach Mimi. I don't get why people don't empathize with Mimi. The way they constantly want her to sort of be there for other people doesn't make sense. The way they want her to reassure other people doesn't make sense. She's reassured just countless times, regardless of the fact that she was the one who was coupled up with Ayo before Jess came in. So I don't get why she constantly needs to justify her actions or justify her thought process or justify what's going on in her relationship or somebody else's relationship. It's frustrating. Okay, so Jess pulls Mimi for a chat and she's sort of saying to Mimi, how do you feel about people making these comments that they're making? Because I know you must feel some type of way. I feel some type of way. And Mimi is saying that, yes, there's still feelings involved and we don't know how to navigate it. Because the more the producers bring them together, the more likely they're going to start questioning. This is my opinion. The more likely they're going to start questioning that, is ending this relationship what's best for us, or should we give it another go? I think this is more or less what Mimi is saying, that, we really don't know how to be around each other at the end of the day. We never had a friendship. She said this before. They never had a friendship before. And so they're used to flirting. And so it seems every time they come together, there's always some flirting there. This is why Mimi sat him down to set boundaries, to say, I don't think it's appropriate for us to be flirting, because if I flirt with you, you will know it's harmless, I'll know it's harmless. But how does Josh or Jess know that it's harmless? That's more or less what she's saying. And so I don't get why people are aggrieved that, oh, she continues to say there's this feeling. Grief, when you have a relationship or when you lose something or you lose someone, you go through the stages of grief. And it depends on where on those stages you are. I feel like Mimi was close to acceptance before Ayo pulled her for a chat. And whoever sent Ayo, whether it's Ayo himself or the producers that sent him, are responsible for this mess and everything that's happened. Because with grief, there are 5 stages. There's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And I feel like Mimi had gone through the stages and was finally at acceptance and was ready to move on. So when Josh came in, she was ready to receive him. And this is why she was open to exploring a connection with him. I think if Josh had come through Casa, she wouldn't have explored, because she wasn't open to sort of exploring anything, because she felt like she had a connection with Ayo and the connection was strong. So how I feel is, I feel like people are misunderstanding what Mimi is saying. I don't know what language she can use for people to understand. Mimi was in a couple with Ayo before she went to Casa. Mimi had feelings for Ayo, and she slept outside in Casa because she felt that their connection was very strong for whatever reasons, for whatever Ayo was doing for her. Apparently, people that have left the villa said Ayo was very attentive. He used to make her breakfast. He used to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So she felt they were in a good space. Then came and found somebody else, a whole person sitting next to him. And he didn't do her any service of sort of sitting her down to say, I am sorry, this happened. Please, could we try? Please, could you forgive me? This is what I want to do. I want to continue this connection. I know it's going to hurt you, but this is when they should have had the conversation. They didn't have the conversation. So Mimi processed her stages of the breakdown of the relationship without closure. And she said that movie night gave her closure, which she did. And I think the producers expected Mimi to kick off at a recoupling after Casa. She didn't kick off. They expected her to have a massive fit on movie night. She didn't have a massive fit. And I think this is why Ayo was sent this 3rd time. And this is why Mimi, in my opinion, is saying to Jess, Ayo and I don't know how to talk to one another. We don't want to be walking on eggshells, because we're going to say or do something that's inappropriate, that's going to hurt somebody's feelings. And it's not just the 2 of us now. It's 4 of us. So what I might say to Ayo might hurt your feelings, or what Ayo might say to me might hurt Josh's feelings. So we also have to take that into consideration in our communication and whatever we do. And I think this is what people fail to understand. They automatically assume that Mimi is pining for Ayo and she wants Ayo back. No, she's saying this guy and I didn't have a friendship. And so because we didn't have a friendship and the relationship that we had has broken down, we don't know how to move on from that and still be around each other. When you break up with someone, you take your personal space, they take their personal space. In this situation, there's no personal space because you're constantly around one another. You're now seeing your ex with his new girl. And Ayo was okay with it as long as Mimi was single. The moment Mimi started exploring something with her new guy, he now had a problem and had to pull her for a chat. And this is what people fail to understand. So Maya Jama arrives and asks the couples to line up, which they do. Once they are lining up, she then reveals that the public have been voting for the most compatible couple. And it's revealed that it's Kieran and Nicole. Am I surprised? No. Am I ecstatic? Yes. Why am I ecstatic? It's not because I like Kieran. I love Kieran, but I am ecstatic that Mimi and Josh did not get most compatible couple, because had they got that couple title, these people would have made their lives miserable. It's bad enough they keep trying to drag them into this four-way that they're fighting against. But if they'd come up as the most compatible couple, then it would have been a nightmare for them. That's just my opinion. And I think the producers sort of painting a negative image of me was a blessing in disguise. I'm hoping she manages to get through the grafties. And if she can get through the grafties, then she'll be fine. But had they been the most compatible couple, we all saw what happened to Whitney and Lachlan last season. Anyway, she announces the bottom 3 couples, and it's Connor and Lola. Surprised? No. I don't think any of the guys were impressed by Lola. I think the producers just decided to get her onto the show just because she had been waiting for a long time, because I don't think any of the guys was interested in her. Connor, he's barely made an impact since he's been on the show, so nothing surprising there. The next couple is Ruben and Grace. Surprised? No. Ruben was hoping for Uma, and when that didn't work, he was left in the wind and he's been struggling, and Grace is just using him to get more time on the show. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think she actually likes him or has any physical attraction to him. I think if she had her way, she should have gone for Josh, but because Josh hasn't paid her attention, this is why she settled for his clone, Ruben. Last couple is Ayo and Jess, and you can see by the look on Josh's face that he's actually taken aback. Even Mimi, she has a straight face. She's not crying. She doesn't look emotional this time like she did last week. I think she's accepted it for what it is. I think this time has allowed her to grieve and end this relationship, irregardless of what the producers have wanted her to do or say. That's my opinion. So once the bottom 3 couples are revealed, Nicole and Kieran are told that they are the ones that are going to decide which couple goes home. It's not going to be the public. And Nicole starts crying, and it's like, why are you crying, love? Why are you crying? You were excited when you told you were, the most compatible couple. You knew it came with something. So what's wrong now? You need to suck it up, buttercup, and make a choice. Obviously, we all know who it is. I don't even know why they even bothered putting a cliffhanger, but hey, it is what it is. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 37. Bye, guys.